Hey, thanks for watching. In this video, we're covering component properties, what they are, and how to use them. First, a quick refresher. Components are reusable building blocks, things like buttons, cards, headers, footers, that you can design once and use throughout your site, instead of recreating the same element over and over again. You build it as a component and drop it in whenever you need it. Now, properties let you customize those components without breaking the original, while keeping everything consistent. We'll start by creating a simple component, get familiar with the interface, and then move on to adding properties and binding them to elements. Here I created some cards, a testimonial card. I have 2 of them here, and I'll use one of them to create a component from it. You can create a component by hovering over the element you want to become a component. You right-click and choose the option Create Component. You have to define the name. I'm going to call it Testimonial. And you will be taken into a component editing mode. You will recognize and differentiate your component editing mode from the normal template or page editing by the green line that surrounds the canvas. There is an icon and a button here, which if you click it, you will get a small prompt saying that you're editing a global component. And it's going to also provide a link to take you to the documentation. On the top, a new tab will appear, which is going to have a label that tells you in which template this component has been created, and then the name of the component. So it tells you that you're inline editing a component within the template. And on the left, you have a properties panel, as long as you have not yet selected any of the elements here. Here is where you will define or create your properties that you will, in the next step, link to each of the elements within the component. This panel is active and visible while none of the elements are selected. So if I select any of the elements here, it's going to go away. But you can easily go back to it either by clicking again on the already selected element, which is going to unselect the element, or by clicking on the little edit icon here. It's going to do the same. So let's begin. I'm going to create a text property first. This default text appears once you drop a component into a canvas, but you haven't yet filled in the actual content for the component. Next, I'm going to create another text property. So next, I want to create a select property, which is going to provide me with a set list of options to choose from. This is going to prevent me from making mistakes of spelling and having some sort of consistency. Maybe this is not the best case or scenario for this, but I'm imagining maybe I have a predictable list of professions. So I'm going to create a select. I'm going to call it profession. For some reason, P didn't type. So first one is going to be designer. First field here is going to be the one that appears as an option label when you choose properties, and the other one is going to be the actual value. In this case, this is going to be the same value. So I'm just going to type it twice. And next, it's going to be, I'm going to do the same here. Let's do now that I have all the options, I need to choose which one is going to be the default. And let's say this one. I need an image. I'm going to call it a portrait. And let's choose the default image. I'm going to choose a very small one because I need a small image for this. Okay, so now I have all my, I guess, content-related properties, but I can use my properties for other things as well. So for instance, I can use my property to control which HTML element is going to be the one that is a wrapper for this card, so that I can drop this card in various contexts, and I'm always going to be able to produce a semantic and proper HTML. So I'm gonna use select for this. I'm gonna call it wrapper, and let's do it like this: div article, and finally li. If I want to place this into a UL element, I'm going to be able to produce a proper markup. Finally, I'm going to use a Boolean or a true-false type so that I can choose whether to show or not show the image based on whether I have it or not. So true-false. I'm going to say as image. And by default, I'm going to say true. I'm going to use a URL field to link from the name of this person somewhere where I want to link. So it's going to be a link. And by default, I'm just going to pass a hashtag. Okay, so now I have all my properties. I can link them to my elements of the component. So let's start first with the quote. I need to move into the content tab and delete the static text I have now and connect it to my quote. Next, let's change the name. Then let's change the profession. Here, I can add some static text to give context to this label. For instance, I can say works as, and then the profession, image. I forgot the alt text, but you'd add a text field to serve for the alt text. Then let's choose the markup selector for the wrapper. Oh, my component has disappeared, and this has happened because I didn't set my default value for the wrapper select field. So let's go back to wrapper, choose div, and set it as default. That's going to bring back my component. When you use property for the markup, your element label gets a bit ugly because it now has the property name in it. And I propose to just change it into something nice, like this. I need to hide my image in case there is no image. So this is going to be here. I'm selecting my image. Then I want to go to conditions, choose a condition, type dynamic. I'm going to select the property to test against. So it's going to be has image. And I'm not going to take equals. This is not what I need to use here. I need to use is true. So because I'm using a Boolean or true-false property, I need to set to be is true or is false or is not true or is not false, because these are the values that are going to be resulting from that kind of property. Okay, so that is almost done. And finally, I need to provide the link. And here I need to add a link actually. So I'm going to have to edit this a little bit now. So I'm going to use my link, go back to outside of my conditions, go back to the actual H3, cut that property from it, paste it into my link because now it's nested inside my H3. And that's the first part. And the second part is the actual URL, which I'm going to connect to a link property. Okay, now my color has changed. I can just quickly change that color to back to black. I can just go out of the component, that's going to save the component, and I'm going to see it in my canvas. So I can now also delete the static text that I have used here. I can now duplicate my component, maybe 2 times. Okay, so my testimonial is now done. When I select any of the components, I have a panel like this, which is something that allows me to edit. So I'll just names. I can choose this to be a designer. I'm going to choose a small version. And finally, now I can set my wrapper to be something like article. Set my image, leave my image to be shown. And for the link, I can link to, let's imagine there is a page on the website that has some more information about this person. And let's say this is the style guide page. Okay, let's do this for the other ones. Oh yeah, this is should be select the image again. Choose the article again. Let's imagine here we don't have the image. Okay, so now we have all the components set. Next, let's add more of these components into another page. I'm going to duplicate this section so that I can easily paste in it. I'll remove all these other components, and let me add a couple of components here. I'm going to hold my Shift key and click testimonial 3 times, and my components are now here. Let's imagine I decided to not have the image on this component anymore. I can come here, edit my component, choose the component, find the image, which is now here. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove the properties that have to do with that element. So it has image and it's a portrait. These do not longer make any sense since the image doesn't exist anymore. I can now go back to the other page and check how that has affected the other page that had this component. So let's go back here, and voila, I no longer have the image. How do we remove a component from the system, from the website entirely? So if I come here and I remove it, I just remove the instance of a component. So one of these components are going to go away. However, my component is still existing and it's available here, right? So let's delete it completely from the website. So you might want to try it like this here and wait or right click, but that's not going to work. Components, the originals, let's say the main template of the component is stored here. And when it's not a built-in component, which is site footer and site header, then on hover, you're going to have the option to delete it. So let's try that. It's going to tell me, you can't delete this component with component instances used in templates and pages. This is because components can be used in many places, and we're not sure what happens to them if we delete it, or meaning they're going to stay hanging in templates all over your site, potentially many of them. And so it's a good measure to remove them. So we're also providing a link to each of the templates where this is used. So currently we're in the posts template, but also in home page, they are also used. So let's first remove them from here. So I'm going to remove all of these instances. Okay. I'm going to scroll down, find them, and delete the components entirely. Okay. So now I'm going to go back, click here, and it's going to warn me again. You will remove these components from the website. It's going to not be reversible. Of course, if you saved a release in Buildarius, then you can always restore that release. But in case you haven't, like I haven't now, it's going to be gone forever. So let's do that. It has deleted successfully the component. It's also removed it from the tab. If I now reload and check my inserter, you will see it no longer exists in the inserter as well. Okay, so that is all about components, component properties, how to create them, and how to use them. Goodbye.